Alright, last round game. I was playing Joni Seppälä. I played him in a tournament in the beginning of the year. I was white in that game too. He's now 1997 rated in Elo. It was also Queen's Gambit declined. In that game I went with the exchange variation. This time I was kind of happy with my round 7 Queen's Gambit declined, where we went for the Tartakover, so I kind of wanted to keep, well, I wanted to surprise him a little bit. That game was not on the DGT board, so it would have been a surprise. And yeah, well, the downside of course is that Tartakover variation is not required. So I play e3, play castle, I play knight f3, and then the game I wanted to happen is here, or h6 first, and then b6. But my opponent just played knight bd7, which I knew his option. Was I prepped for this? Not well. But I hope that if this happens, I could maybe bail out to an exchange variation anyways. Here they of course maybe could take with the knight too. It's equally played both ways. But since I knew he plays this actually with both colors, I hoped he would go there. I'll play bishop d3. There's some, well, it's all normal. Black defense there. White castles. Okay, this is, here I mess things up badly though. This is all normal stuff. h6, bishop drops back, and then I could have also gone queen c2 first. It's gonna probably end up in the same position anyways, but black has to prep the knight jump there with one more move. Here he can straight up go for this knight e4. I think this is called the Lasker variation. So queen defense here, so it's not hanging. And white can add here, but black can defend with the rook. Black can also go there. I don't know. Maybe I should have well, actually maybe this is much more normal. Then you add the bishop out to here. They have a strong point here. I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter at all which way you go about it. Yeah, here I did know this is a move. I forgot that it's a move here. I prepped it with the rook b1. You can of course go here, and yeah, there is the problem that they take, then you can win this pawn. Basically get a central pawn for a flank pawn. So b4 is instantly possible here. We're going for the minority attack. And then yeah, you can, I don't know how to continue here. b5 instantly. Maybe black can play c5 here because this is now defended. It's not anything special. But yeah, the problem is that if you play rook b1 first, which I did, and here I can play here, but he stops this. I want to play b5, take here and give this c pawn as a weakness there. Backwards pawn on an open file. That's the basic premise of the minority attack here, but they have the bishop f5. And now they're just threatening to chop everything. I played here because I realized here I'm kind of starting to get into a mess of things here. And here you can probably just bang it here, and then you get into some huge troubles here. Of course, yeah, this can't retake since the knight is pinned. So b5 is no longer possible. I jumped here. I don't know. Maybe here I should have bailed out with some kind of stuff with here too. Black can play f5, knight f6, both are fine. They have a nice square here for the knight. But I don't know, maybe it would have been a more fancy position for me. Or just play the b4 instantly, like you're supposed to, but this is no good how I went. Now I can't play b5. This also is, well, here I realized I messed up things. So I started to confuse the issues. The problem is that I just confused them in their favor even more. Because the knight is, it's annoying, but it's also quite vulnerable. Now the c5's become a problem. I mean, I can't of course do it yet, but if I ever push this, then maybe they can do stuff like this, and the knight will drop here if we ever take. Or take. Take and take. Knight's vulnerable. I still probably should have taken with the queen here. I don't know, I took with the knight and he gets this with tempo. And now I can't get this in easy after they drop the knight here. It's the best square for the knight. Now this is 30. Pretty ideal Carlsbad structure for black here. And now they can start to even think about attacking me. It's not easy, but it's maybe doable since white's counterplay on the queen side is gone and white has very hard time, for instance, trying to do stuff like this. It's probably foolhardy. Well, I stuck my knight back to e5. And they just centralized the rook. Okay, rook b3 is just like I'm maybe hinting of playing f4. I was like not super convinced I was ever gonna do it, but I was just like let them maybe think about that I will do it. Just to keep the knight as a strong point here, of course, and of course the downside is that they can whenever they feel like it, kick it away with f6. Alright, so they'll do some shuffling around here. I made a luft here. And they want to maybe double here, or... I mean, the rooks are not swinging into attack yet, and it's very hard. The h pawn is also a little bit on the way of any kind of attacks at the moment. Well, this had some ideas like... well, mainly I was kind of looking at this square, because I was thinking of going queen jumping around, and I don't want to end up if I go queen f3, some kind of a, well, knight e5, knight forks here. If I go f3, well, either way the rooks were forked. It does nothing. I'm still not really prepping to do any kind of breaks anywhere. I moved this to here in a couple of moves anyways. It's probably where it's supposed to go. But I kind of wanted to bait black to do some weakening on the king side. And they do a little bit. Of course, these are also attacking moves. And I'm not really well equipped to ever attack on this side. The rooks are not getting there. Queen and the knight can do stuff together, but they're not enough for an actual attack. Well, now I wanted to go here. I wanted to keep the knight like honestly here, even though it's bestly placed there. But if it moves, then I can always play b5, and the rook covers c5, so they don't have any c5s to sidestep me and undermine the knight's defenses here. So, instance, if this happens, for instance, I could play here and... Well, they probably still can go here though, because the knight covers this and I can still take. So, I probably can't even go there. And if I kick this, then we weaken this for no reason, then the knight just comes back to cover it. So, It's difficult position. I have very hard time coming up with any realistic plans of white making any progress ever. So rooks are swinging around. I go with the queen again. I want to bait some weaknesses. Queen d7, I think they're triple up the battery there and stuff. Well, it's g3. I don't know, I was calculating this and debating of pushing the pawn there, but eventually I played with g3 and it doesn't do anything. It's probably gonna be a weakness. I don't know, I kind of wanted my pawns to be in this format, but then I didn't put them anyways here. Of course you make a lot of holes if you do. But yeah, maybe sturdier. I don't know, maybe we could swing the knight there if I played h5. Well, I came up with a conclusion that the knight's best here. I could have actually moved it instantly there in a move whatever, where we were. I think this is actually kind of tricky move. Because there is some tactics that did occur in the game anyways. Knight has some ideas here, so you're actually like, if black would make a random stupid move, you could probably get away with a b5 instantly. Knight's not vulnerable, so c5s are nothing, and if takes, we have this tactic. Probably good, even though I'm not sure where we end up here. I mean, white could actually be soon better here. But yeah, knight f4 would have been much earlier, better square for the knight probably. Even though it blocks everything here, it's, well, I really wanted to win this game, even though I messed it up. And I knew I'm much worse here. Well, not maybe much, but I knew I was worse and I had no active plan. But yeah, this is kind of like I saw the idea that I am threatening to play b5 and then take here if he takes with the knight. And he played rook here, and I got my plan in, bang. He took, and then he went here. He saw that if he goes there, I go here, and then it's all good. And suddenly, well, I assume I won't get mated here. Without the knight, probably the rook sacks are too much for white to break, but there is some vulnerability on here for sure. But yeah, maybe I can survive all the nonsense here. And then we have some easy targets here to target. Anyways, my opponent played knight c4, blocks the c file, and it comes with some ideas here. Bang, 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 bang. Well, I did finally get my minority attack in. We have a weak c-pawn. Unfortunately, black has managed to put the knight there, so it's very hard to access. Also, the knight is just overall pain there. So I played queen here. I don't know, maybe I should have done h4. Even though, I mean, there's this. Maybe it's harder for them to break there, because after queen c2 he plays h4. And my king side gets even weaker. So h4 was probably better. I was considering it, but I don't know why I rejected it. So I have to play g4 to keep things closed. Well, of course they cannot play g5 because of the fork here. But here my opponent lashed out. There's also this possibility. He sacked here. And it's very close to actually working. This would also be, I think, engine-wise. Engine gives zeros here, so this is a correct sacrifice. And I was quite low on time, so it would have been a pain in the something to defend this with a low time and all kind of things happening. But maybe you can do it. Like, there is defenses. Anyways, my opponent banked here. I think he missed one move. I take here. We have this covered here. But there is checks coming here. Knight is hanging. I'll take once. And then I think they missed the queen f2. Well, I think they saw this all. But they missed I have a knight g2 here. It's critical, see, because they are threatening to go here or... Well, of course, if you blunder, then you instantly lose the game because the wins and discoveries. But knight g2 is really nice move here because you attack there. And there's no check anymore here. We just pick up a free queen. Downside, of course, is that I am down 3 pawns. But I'm winning one of them by force here. Knight, the rook has to move. And this is the move 40. Well, they took. And now I took here like an idiot. Well, in my defense, I did not see this. And I was kind of, well, I knew we were at the 40 move, so I had time. We got extra 30 minutes here. I should have gone here and calculated longer, but I saw this line and I felt like, oof, everything gets chopped off instantly. But afterwards I was pointed out during the post-mortem that I could play here, and I'd be just winning if they went for this f5 move. If you chop, White can just play here and Black gets nowhere near our pawn, and we can just improve the king somewhere, and it's an easily winning game. Not super hard calculation to see this, but it was impossible for me. Yeah. And the good part is that you can take here, and if there is no f5, well, Black can't easily defend. Well, he can play here, and it also looks a bit risky, because these pawns are kind of far away from my king. And I was kind of worried that they could sneak the king in here somewhere, but this is definitely winning still for White. But these were, well, first of all, I didn't see what to do against f5, and even if I did, this is not super clear cut. It is, but it's not, for me at least. There is so few pawns, and I have to worry about 2 passed pawns here, and also some kind of a king's doubling back if they go that way. But yeah, king here, and I don't know, c5, knight f3. Eventually it should be a win, but... And again, the knight and the pawns kind of cover a nice... form a nice wall here. But yeah, this would have been the best victory here. I took here, and the problem here is that now there is no way to keeping my pawns. Well, here I could go here, but I did not like rook d2. And I'm pinned and all bad things. But apparently this is all fine. Here you're, yeah. Yeah, there's no win anymore here. I blamed knight f4. I didn't like this at all because I'm pinned here, but apparently you can play rook c3, and this was not the way to draw this though. Here Black's supposed to play g5 and stop the knight's defend here. Knight e1, rook e3, knight c2, but it is hard. Again, this apparently loses this way, but rook d3, and it's all fine apparently. But yeah, I couldn't calculate any of this nonsense. I saw something, but I miscalculated this anyways. But here I didn't really I was not optimistic that I can actually hold on there. So the problem is with knight f4 is that he attacks here. It's a fork. I'll take this. And here I blundered again. At least king f2 would probably be interesting. With some kind of idea that we could even form a mating net here. But it's not enough. If you go here, bang, can't hold on to the pawn anymore. And can go knight f6, but they can stop this here. Maybe play g5, so king here. I don't know, all kind of stuff. It's not enough. Anyways, I played the knight f6 here first, and then the downside, of course, is that can attack my knight, and if I defend the knight, I lose the pawn. And now it comes actually that like black can play for a win, because they cannot really realistically ever lose this game. Rook and knight versus rook, even if they lost all the 3 pawns, are just not good enough at all. So here I played knight e4 and offered a draw. Yeah, I think here and here. Maybe we could try this, but it's not enough actually. They try this to win the rook. I can defend my knight and then probably go pick up here, and maybe we have some realistic chances here. Well, I don't know. They could maybe play g5 and then threaten to f5 it anyways and get my last pawn, and again bing bang bong, and this is just very easy to hold. Rook and knight versus the rook, even if I win the pawn, which we probably can do, but who knows. It's not enough. Anyways, that was overall horrible game. I had some chances in the end, but they came in a moment that I was not prepared to calculate enough. Like at the moment of 40th and 41st move. It's the most blunderous move, the 41st. When you just have to reach the time control, and horrible. Anyways, that was my tournament. I ended up with 5.5 out of 9. Actually, kind of performance-wise, it was expected from my rating. I might have lost 1 elo. With 6, I would have had a decent result if I won this game, but to be honest, I did not deserve to win this game. I had chances in the end, but actually would have probably shared with the rating price with 6 out of 9, but I ended up with 5.5. Anyways, decent tournament. Nothing to write home about. Anyways, thanks for watching these. Hope you learned something. I did not. I learned a lot. Always good to play and analyze your games. But let's see what we come up with next. Ciao everybody.